Well, hello there. Good day.
Hi, Valerie.
Hi, Saskia. How are you doing?
I'm really well, thank you. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for giving me some of your time. This is awesome. We're able to connect.
Absolutely.
Can we start off by telling everybody that's listening a little bit about yourself? Like, how old are you and where do you live?
Yeah, so my name's Saskia. I'm 38 years old and I am born and bred and have lived my whole life in London in the UK.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, yeah.
So you have a really unique website I discovered called My Beehive, correct?
That's right. That's right.
How did that start? What made you
So,
create it?
so it came about very much through my own personal journey. So when I was 31, I was in a relationship with someone and I was suffering from excruciating period pains. I took myself to the gynecologist and I was very quickly diagnosed with endometriosis.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And when I woke up from what was supposed to be a routine operation, a laparoscopy, I was told that both my fallopian tubes were severely blocked and that I was never going to conceive naturally.
Wow.
So this was obviously a massive shock because at that point I wasn't even trying for kids, but I knew I wanted desperately to have kids one day. And so I had to make a very difficult decision to have them removed, which would have meant I was entirely reliant on IVF, basically.
Did they give you that option? Did they lay out your choices for you when this occurred?
Yeah, I mean, when they told me, they said it's your decision, but we strongly advise that you have them removed. Yeah, so they said think about it, and if you have your fallopian tubes removed, you won't compromise the rest of your reproductive system, and you are a good candidate for IVF. But obviously, it's a very final decision because IVF has to work, right? You're then becoming 100% reliant on that. It's not a natural process, so you're putting your trust in modern medicine. So you're really hoping that that works for you. Anyway, in a nutshell, we went for IVF straight away. My daughter was born in 2012,
How old were
and
you
then
in 2012?
I was 32 years old.
Okay, so you're still
Yeah.
really young.
Yeah, I was young, but we just thought, let's go for it because we don't know how long it's going to take. So we just thought there's no time to waste. Let's just go for the treatment. And it worked first time, which was amazing. And at that point, I was a teacher in a primary school, and I was starting to think about how amazing this whole process was. But I wasn't thinking about changing careers at that point. And when I came to try and have another child, that was when I found that IVF wasn't working so well for me. We had a lot of failed rounds. We miscarried once, and that was what, yeah, got really tough emotionally. And I started feeling that the clinic was wonderful, but actually I wasn't getting a lot of support from anywhere else. And I felt there was a real lack of support for my emotional needs and for everything that was just my health and lifestyle, my nutrition, my approach, my everything that wasn't medical. I just found this process to be so overwhelming that when it doesn't work, you kind of feel really isolated and alone at that point. Um, anyway, that's when I found a British charity called Fertility Network UK.
Oh, wow.
And I started attending support groups for secondary infertility. And they were fantastic in helping me to just make me feel that I wasn't alone out there. And that is really when the idea for My Beehive was born. I started thinking about what it is that I needed for myself and for all these other women that are going through the same thing as me. I wanted to basically put together a package that was going to hold their hand through IVF treatment, whether it worked for them or not. That was the whole point. Is it's an emotional support program. That's how I would define my business.
Okay. So is it for profit or are you an educational resource or a connector? I'm
So
just help the
yeah,
listeners understand more about what you do.
I'm a private business. But I'm also what I would call absolutely a connector. So I have links on my website with fertility therapists, with nutritionists, with counselors, and together we have put together a package. Basically, that's the idea. I also have a wealth of information online about fertility generally and how to look after your fertility, and what is the best way of just, giving yourself and your body the best chances of conceiving. IVF is something that I needed to have, but I think there's a lot that you can do at home and before you even go to a clinic to try and get your fertility to its optimum, basically.
Right.
And I mean that specifically to do with nutrition and also like just lifestyle. And then obviously a lot. And when I gave up teaching to focus on my business, then I focused properly on another round of IVF and I got pregnant again.
Oh, congratulations.
So I had my second daughter in November 2015.
And you were just over 34, 35?
And I was 36 years old.
36,
then.
okay.
36 years old, yeah, 36. And we had one frozen embryo left from that cycle that we had transferred back in January, and I'm currently 4 months pregnant.
Congrats!
So I'm expecting.
Congratulations! What fantastic news! That's just made my day. Wow!
Oh, thank you, Valerie. It's really sweet. So I practice what I preach.
Absolutely.
And I've really put my heart and soul into making sure that treatment has not been kind of wasted because it's so expensive over here. I'm not sure how it works in the US, but it's very privately funded here. There's not a lot on the state. So, I just feel strongly that we need to just give it the best energy and the best focus that we have to make treatment work here in the UK.
Absolutely. Do you focus a lot to help endometriosis patients a lot of the time, or is it a combo of fertility patients and IVF and
I would say that mostly it's unexplained infertility.
Okay.
We seem to have a lot of cases in this country of people just not knowing why they're not getting pregnant. And so
1 in 8 suffer from unexplained infertility, and we just came off of Fertility Awareness Month, and so it's a very big problem, and I think it's the most frustrating part is when it's unexplained and you can't explain why, because everybody wants to know why.
Right, exactly, and I think that means you blame each other in a relationship. There's this big, heavy question mark hanging over your head, and it's very difficult to move on from that. And people telling you to just relax and it'll happen is quite frustrating.
That is one of my most biggest pet peeve is when people say just relax. Like I'm an egg freezer, so I didn't have the pressure of trying to get pregnant in IVF. But it was still just as emotional because it's still IVF without the F.
Exactly. But it's an amazing.
How did this affect your relationship? Because you were kind of mentioning that. Did you and your partner have a way of kind of dealing with this, or was there a unique way you both connected and communicated?
Yeah, I think we grew as a couple actually through the failed cycles more than through at any other point in the history of our relationship. I think when you go through hard times, you realize actually you get to know each other in all your true colors. And I think we mourned and suffered in different ways, and we had to find a mutual ground for supporting each other, but each other enough space, and then reconnecting again. So it was definitely a learning curve, but it's definitely made us stronger in the long run. And I think especially when it came to this frozen egg, expect it to work. We weren't expecting the frozen embryo to work, and it did, and it just felt like such a blessing. After everything that we've been through, it was a real gift. I mean, for the family, emotionally, but also financially, not to have to pay for another round. It really was the biggest present that there is. So our relationship has definitely changed, but I would say for the better.
I was listening to a really cool podcast called The Good, the Dad, and the Ugly.
And the Ugly.
Yeah. And I heard your husband, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, on the show. And I have to tell you, he is so full of personality. I think it was like midway through one of the episodes. And he was talking about how you were really upfront when you were together or when you first started dating or courtship or whatever. Yeah. And you were like, hey, listen, just got to tell you, we have to do IVF if you want to have kids. So he mentioned how it really opened up his eyes to maybe what you had to go through and made him think about whether he really wanted to be a dad or not, and that how you became very much his partner because of that openness. It made him very attracted to you.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
Was that Jerry, scary?
Yeah, it was scary being infertile and trying to meet a potential father and having to break that news to them is scary. But actually, I couldn't have chosen a better partner because Jerry is so open, as you could probably tell. He has no kind of filters,
zero.
However gruesome or gross it might be, he's happy to share. And I don't know how it is in the US, but in the UK, there's a big stigma around infertility. And Jerry and I are on quite a big mission to try and get people talking about infertility more. So he really is the best person for that job.
You're really breaking those stereotypes of that stigma. Known fertility in some aspects where endometriosis was the key factor and reason, and you couldn't control that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you could feel broken. Like, did you feel like when you told Jerry that you were worried he'd be like, okay, see ya later, I'm going to go find somebody.
Yeah, of course.
Who's
absolutely
not have problems.
Absolutely. I mean, conceiving naturally when it works is so easy. So I think it's a big deal going through IVF because, you need to be really, really open to all these interventions. I mean, arguably, it's a lot more for the woman to have to go through than the man. Mm-hmm. But I think the crucial part for the man is to just be emotionally supportive to the woman and make sure that there's a strong partnership there. But I think, absolutely, it's a very scary thing initially. But I trusted him, and we were friends actually before we got sedation already. We had that strong foundation, which meant that that I was pretty sure he wasn't going to run away. So that was good. Yeah, phew, exactly.
Well, how many women do you think you've helped with My Beehive?
Yeah, well, specifically, I've probably helped a couple of dozen women directly, and I've worked in partnership with them throughout the year. I've been operating for a year, support service, a few dozen. But through the website, I get a lot of messages from women who just want a bit of advice for different aspects of conception and fertility. So I couldn't really put a number on that because it's definitely significant, and I can see that the website gets a lot of traffic, especially around events to do. So I think indirectly I've hopefully helped, and hopefully that will carry on. Hopefully that will carry on, Valerie.
So how do you balance it all? I feel like you have a really good handle on, having a stay-at-home business and taking care of your family and finding balance. How do you do that?
So I would say that my husband is very supportive. And so when I made a decision to start the business, he was the one that really said, go for it and we'll make it work. And so for it to work, it meant that I needed time away, especially from my youngest child, who's going to be 2. So she's at the nursery 3 days a week, and those are my 3 days when I'm really stuck in the office and I'm dedicating my time to the beehive. But to be honest, with this little thing is just a godsend because you can be in bed or anywhere and doing your social media stuff. Yeah.
Props to the Apple Store.
Absolutely. But obviously when I'm doing events, I need to plan ahead and maybe pull on the few strings to get my husband or my mom or someone to do a little bit of childcare for me,
Sure,
so that I can get on a plane to Glasgow, because we don't have a nanny or a housekeeper or anything. We try and make it work, but I think working, it makes me a better mother in a way, actually, because it means I'm stimulated on every level. So,
absolutely. I couldn't agree with you
yeah.
more. I definitely, if I ever become a mom someday, I want to also keep a working business of some kind, or a
It's a great
job,
thing.
or good life work balance is probably
Absolutely.
the most goal.
So important.
Yeah. So any lasting thoughts or advice you would give women, maybe women that are struggling with endometriosis? What is kind of your key takeaway message you would tell them?
I would say that listening to your body is crucial. So as I was growing up, I thought my period pain was normal, and really it wasn't. Something was wrong. So listen to your body. Don't be afraid to seek medical help. Go and have a scan. Go and have a blood test to check, and just give yourself that peace of mind. I think there's something around being worried and bothering people, and thinking that things are normal to feel this way. Go, if you have to spend the money to get the mind at rest, do it, because I was 5 years too late, and if I'd gone sooner, then I might have, things might have been different for me.
Yeah.
So, but it's not normal to be in a lot of pain. So I would say really listen to your body. That is my biggest lesson for me.
What great advice. You're right. Because when your body's in pain, it's signaling that something's wrong.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, this has been a fun chat. So thanks for giving us part of your day. And we will connect all the listeners to you with the links below. And really excited, and congratulations on your pregnancy. This is just fantastic news. So hug those little kiddos for me and tell your husband I'm a fan of him too.
I will. Thank you, Valerie.
All right.
That's so sweet. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely.
Thank you for waking up so early for me.
No problem. I'm used to the early mornings.
Early, I'm sure. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Okay.
Take care.
Bye now.
Bye. Bye, Valerie.